No sugarcoating, no false promises, no Lamborghini thumbnails, because you deserve the unfiltered version, the version I'd share with someone I really care about over a glass of wine at the kitchen table. Someone asked me recently, if your best friend came to you and said, "Mate, I want to be a full-time trader," what would you actually tell them? Not the webinar version, not the polished, carefully curated, compliance-approved version, the real version, the kitchen table version. What would you honestly say? And I thought about it for a moment because it's a great question. Because the advice I give my best friend is very different from what you'll hear most people in this industry. It's more direct, more honest, probably more uncomfortable. So that's what this video today is all about. No slides today, no charts, just me, you, and the unfiltered truth about what it actually takes to trade the financial markets for a living from someone who spent 3 decades doing it. If you've ever thought about trading seriously, or you're already trading and something just isn't quite clicking, this might be the most important 30 minutes you'll spend this year. The first thing I'd say to my best friend is this. Trading is simple, but it isn't easy. And I need you to really hear both halves of that sentence, because most people only hear one. The simple part is true. The core of what we do is not complicated. You identify a setup, you define your risk, and you execute the trade. You manage it according to your plan. That's it. It's not quantum physics. You don't need a PhD for this. But not easy is where most people get absolutely wrecked, because the simplicity tricks them. They think simple means they can skip the work. They think simple means they can wing it after watching a few YouTube videos and buying a $47 course. And the market is incredibly good at punishing that assumption. So if you're going to do this, you're going to have to put in the work, real work. Not scrolling Twitter for hot takes, not watching someone else's screen recordings and thinking you've absorbed what they know, the kind of work that nobody sees, the kind of work that isn't sexy or exciting or shareable on social media. You're going to have to level up yourself. Not just your strategy, not just your indicators, yourself. Because in trading, you are the instrument. Your psychology, your discipline, and your ability to sit with discomfort and do the right thing anyway, that's what determines whether you'll make it as a trader. The second thing I'd tell them is this. You need a plan and you need to follow it every single time. I know that sounds obvious. Everyone nods along when they hear follow your trading plan. But here's what actually happens in reality. You have a plan. The market opens. Something unexpected happens. Your stop gaps down or gaps up past your entry, and suddenly the plan feels wrong. Suddenly the plan feels like it was written by somebody who didn't know that this was going to happen. So you improvise, you override, you adapt. That's not adapting, that's freelancing. And freelancing in the markets is how accounts die. Your plan exists for one reason, to protect you from yourself in the heat of the moment. When the adrenaline is pumping, when the fear is whispering, when the greed is tugging at your sleeve. The plan is the only thing standing between you and a very expensive emotional decision. You can't do this for entertainment. Let me make that very clear. If you're here for excitement, go to a casino. At least they give you free drinks while they take your money. Trading is a business, and business is run on process, not adrenaline. This might surprise you, and I'd want my best friend to understand it from day one. I'm wrong a good 40% of the time, after 30 years. After Goldman Sachs, after Citibank, after tens of thousands of trades, I still lose on roughly 4 out of 10 trades. And you know what? That is completely fine, because profitability in trading isn't just about being right. It's about how much you make when you're right versus how much you lose when you're wrong. My average winner is about 2.7 times bigger than my average loser. That's the real magic, not some mythical 90% win rate that gurus sell to beginners on Instagram. But here's the bit that's harder than it sounds. You have to admit to yourself when you're wrong, sooner rather than later. And for most people, that's incredibly difficult because being wrong feels like failure. It feels like a personal judgment, especially if you told someone about the trade or you were sure about the direction. Your ego will scream at you to hold on, to wait for it to come back, to prove yourself right. Don't listen. Take the small early loss. Accept it, move on. You can always re-enter the next day if things pan out the way you originally expected. The trader who blows up, it's almost never because of one bad idea. It's because they refused to take the small loss and it became a big loss, and then a catastrophic loss, and then a career-ending loss. The whole disaster started with an ego that couldn't say, "I was wrong." Now this next one, this is probably the single biggest edge I can give you. And it's one almost nobody wants to hear. Do the boring things well. Keep a detailed trade diary. Not just what you traded, when you entered, where you exited, but how you felt throughout the process. What was your emotional state when you pulled the trigger? Were you calm and confident? Or were you anxious and second-guessing? Were you entering because the setup was clean, or because you'd been sitting on your hands for 3 days and felt the urge to do something? Print your charts out. Physically print them out on paper. Mark them up with a pen. Build that pattern recognition muscle memory the old-fashioned way. I know it sounds archaic in 2026. I know there are apps and AI tools that screen capture software, but there's something about the physical act of annotating a chart by hand that wires patterns into your brain a way that staring at a screen simply doesn't. So few traders do this. So few traders keep a proper diary. So few traders review their emotional patterns alongside their trading patterns because it's boring, it's tedious, it's the unsexy homework that nobody posts about on social media. And that's exactly why it works, because 90% of retail traders lose money and 90% of retail traders don't do the boring stuff. The correlation isn't a coincidence. Doing the boring things well gives you an enormous edge over the majority of traders simply because they refuse to do it. Or they start and they give up after a week or two. You won't. I said at the beginning that trading is simple, and I meant that. And one of the biggest traps I see traders fall into is the complexity trap. They think more indicators means more edge. More screens means more information. More complexity means more sophistication. It doesn't. More complexity usually means more confusion, more hesitation, and more opportunities to second guess yourself out of a perfectly good trade. If a setup isn't obvious, don't trade it. Seriously, if you have to twist yourself in knots to make it work, if you have to squint at the chart and convince yourself that, well, if you look at this from this angle, then it's not a trade. Bin it, move on. The next setup is coming, it's just around the corner. I learned this from Bruce Lee, actually. He talked about stripping away the unnecessary, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and add what is uniquely your own. Most traders only ever do the first part. They absorb and absorb and absorb. They never discard anything. They end up with 47 indicators on a chart, and they can't even see the price anymore. The best traders I've worked with, the ones managing and making serious money at the institutional level, their setups are embarrassingly simple. Clean price action, a few key levels, defined risk, that's it. The sophistication isn't in the complexity of the setup, it's in the discipline of the execution and the rigor of the risk management. Never chase a move that has started without you. I drill this into my best friend from the very beginning, because chasing is what happens when you let emotion override process. You see a stock ripping higher and something in your gut says, I have to get in now or I'm going to miss it. So you buy at a terrible price with no defined risk at the worst possible reward to risk ratio, and then you wonder why the trade goes against you immediately. Chasing destroys your reward to risk. It's that simple. If a move has happened, it's happened. Let it go. There's always another setup coming. Always. The market doesn't close permanently at 4 p.m. It opens again tomorrow. And while we're at it, don't ever feel the need to trade. Sitting on your hands is sometimes the best thing you can do. I know that feels counterintuitive. You're a trader. You're supposed to trade, right? No. You're a risk manager who occasionally puts on trades when the conditions are right. That is a massive psychological difference. Bruce Lee had this concept of the motionless motion, poised, balanced, ready. You don't strike because you're tired of waiting. You strike because the opening is undeniable. Same thing in trading. Patience isn't passive. Patience is a weapon. Most of your trades should be in the direction of the dominant trend. I tell my best friend that, and I keep it really straightforward. Trend following has over 2 centuries of data backing it up. 200 years. That's not a YouTube guru's opinion. That's not some bat-tested indicator from last Tuesday. That's one of the most enduring, well-documented edges in the history of financial markets. Respect the trend that is. Also, respect the trend that was, because trends have memory. A stock that's been in a strong uptrend for months doesn't just forget it overnight because it pulled back 3%. The underlying forces that created that trend are still there until proven otherwise. Don't try to be smarter than the trend. I see this constantly. Retail traders who think they've spotted the top, who think they know better than the collective weight of billions or trillions of dollars in capital flow. It's gone up too far. It has to come down. No, it doesn't. Not on your timeline and not according to your opinion. The market doesn't know or care what you or I think. Trade setups, not opinions. If the trend is up, look for opportunities to buy the dip. If the trend is down, look for opportunities to sell rallies. Don't fight the river, just dip your hand in and take up a small scoop. Now, this is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. And I'd say it to my best friend with absolute conviction. You are a risk manager, not a trader. In all of your self-talk, think of yourself that way. Talk about yourself that way. When somebody asks what you do, the answer is, I'm a trader. The answer is, I manage risk in the financial markets. Because that shift in identity and mindset changes everything about how you approach every single decision. Here's how I'd explain it. Imagine you have an internal CIO, your Chief Investment Officer. Think of this as your higher self, or the best possible version of yourself. The version of you that isn't scared, isn't greedy, isn't trying to prove anything to anyone. Your job as the risk manager is to submit a trade setup to your internal CIO for approval. You present the case. Here's the setup, here's the entry, here's the stop, here's the target. Here's the reward to risk. Here's the position size relative to total capital. And your internal CIO makes the decision based on risk, not on profit potential, not on how excited you are about the idea, and not on what some analyst said on television. Risk. Does this trade make sense from a risk management perspective? Can I afford this loss if I'm wrong? Does the position size threaten the portfolio? If your internal CIO says no, you don't take the trade, period. No arguments, no bargaining, no, but this one looks really good. You listen to the CIO because the CIO is protecting the only thing that matters in this game, your survival. Because survival is the gateway to freedom. If you survive long enough, you stay in the game long enough, the edges compound, the skills compound, the experience compounds, but none of that happens if you blow up in year one because you sized a position like a cowboy. I mentioned the trade diary earlier, and I want to come back to it because I think it deserves its own moment. Trading will teach you some of the most important lessons of your life about discipline, about patience, about ego, about relationship between risk and reward, about the difference between what you can control and what you can't, and about yourself. But, and this is critical, you will only learn from those lessons if you write them down, if you keep a detailed record of not just what happened in the market, but what happened in your head and your gut while it was happening. After every trade, write down, what was the setup? Why did I take it? What was my emotional state going in? What happened? What did I do? How did I feel during the trade? What would I do differently? What did this trade teach me? Do that for 6 months and you'll know yourself as a trader better than most people know themselves after 6 years, because the patterns will jump off the page. You'll see that every time you're anxious, you cut winners too early. Or every time you're bored, you force a trade that isn't really there. Or every Thursday afternoon, you make terrible decisions because you're just mentally exhausted from the week. The diary doesn't just record your trading, it reveals you. And that self-knowledge is worth more than any indicator, any course, any signal service, any AI tool, because it's yours. Nobody else's patterns are yours. Nobody else's triggers are yours. The diary gives you a mirror. Most traders are too afraid to look. So that's what I tell my best friend, all of it. No sugarcoating, no false promises, no Lamborghini thumbnails. Trading is simple, but it isn't easy. You'll be wrong plenty, and that's fine. Do the boring things well, because that's where your edge is over the 90% who won't. Keep it simple, respect the trend, never chase. And think of yourself as a risk manager first, last, and always. These aren't theories I picked up from a textbook. This is wisdom forged from 30 years in the trenches, including the time I lost a 7-figure fortune during the 2008 financial crisis and had to rebuild from scratch. I've made every mistake I'm warning you about, every single one. The difference is I survived them, learned from them, and built a process that means I don't have to make them ever again. And if I tell my best friend this, I'm telling you too, because you deserve the unfiltered version, not the version that's been sanitized for a webinar, not the version designed to sell you something, the version I'd share with someone I really care about over a glass of wine at the kitchen table. If you want to go deeper, I've put together an ebook that expands on everything I've talked about today. It's called The Advice I Give My Best Friend About Trading, and it's free. The link is in the description below. Download it, read it, keep it somewhere where you can come back to it when the market is testing your discipline. By the way, if you're watching this and thinking, I'd love to see what this actually looks like in practice week by week, every week I send out a free video called the Tao Weekly, where I walk through exactly this kind of analysis. Current market conditions, setups that I'm watching, how I'm thinking about risk. No pitch, no upsell, just the process in action. I'll drop the link in the description below. Have a look. I think you'll find it valuable. And the last thing I'd say to my best friend, and I'll say it to you too, if ever you need me, I'm here to support you all the way.